So it's been just shy of 1 month since the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase that we got, and I asked in a poll if you guys wanted me to cover any kind of new leaks and rumors that are popping up, with pretty much everyone saying you wanted me to talk about this. So we're going to be going over a Nintendo Direct leak that has popped up online that's supposedly going to happen in the middle of April. But yeah, we're going to take a look at this. I'm going to go ahead and preface you now, this is probably not real, but it would be really cool if it was, you know, like there's a lot of really good stuff in here. But anyway, before we go through this leak, if you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. And we have a lot of new people in our ever-growing community that I want to give a special shout out to. It means a lot to me that you guys have chosen to subscribe to the channel, and I really appreciate it. But anyway, let's break down this Nintendo Direct leak that has popped up on, of all places, Reddit, where everything likes to pop up. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in this leak, but it's all very far-fetched. In this day and age, the idea that a piece of paper or a document about a Nintendo Direct existing out in the wild is very far-fetched. I've been in the world of Nintendo news and everything for a long time-ish, and not once has one of these like leaked documents that with a list of Nintendo games that are going to be announced in it ever been true. It's not going to happen. And the more we break this down, the more you're going to see what I'm talking about. So let's just break it down. So first thing we've got in this Direct is that there's going to be a new Hyrule Warriors game called Hyrule Warriors: The Imprisoning War, coming out November 21st, 2024. I would love to see a new Hyrule Warriors game. I thought Age of Calamity was a really nice game. I know it takes place in its own alternate timeline, so it's not canon to what happens in Breath of the Wild, but just the setting of it alone was just good. And the Imprisoning War is something that's related to Tears of the Kingdom, so it kind of makes sense that they would want to go back and tell more of that story. But that would make the third Hyrule Warriors game that we've had available on the Switch. I know the first one was just like a port of the Wii U version coming over, but there's a lot of different other avenues they could take with it. I've seen people talk about how they should do like a Xenoblade Warriors game, or maybe a second Fire Emblem Warriors that is more of the story of Fire Emblem Engage, or more of Fire Emblem Three Houses, or in another direction they could take this in instead of doing a third Hyrule Warriors game. Either way, there's not a lot of stuff on this list that is like plausible stuff that could potentially happen within this year. I would say Hyrule Warriors: The Imprisoning War is one of the things that's kind of likely could happen. And here comes everyone's favorite game to talk about that has never been announced. And that is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD for the Switch. This is something that has been going around probably since the day the Switch was announced, and is how Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD at some point were going to make their way onto the Switch. And with this being probably the last year of the Switch, it makes sense that Nintendo would probably start shoving out a bunch of remakes and stuff like we're seeing right now with Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion coming out soon. And this has got Wind Waker HD for a July 18th release date, which means that you would have Paper Mario coming out in May, Luigi's Mansion coming out in June, Wind Waker coming out in July. It's a lot of remakes to put all right next to each other. And if you can tell just from this document alone, I'm going to zoom in on this here. The spacing on the whole title of this game is completely different to the spacing on everything else. If this was a legitimate document from Nintendo, I don't see them making such a big mistake like this as far as the typos and stuff go. Next, we've got stuff with like Monster Hunter Stories coming out June 14th, Endless Ocean coming out May 2nd, Epic Mickey Rebrushed November 14th, and Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door coming out in May, like I said a minute ago. All that stuff's already been announced. That makes sense that they would try to put some of that stuff in here going over that. The next new big game that's on this is Fire Emblem Echoes Scars of Jugdral. I love Fire Emblem, but this seems like something that I don't know anything about as far as like the title of the game. For the longest time, there's been a rumor that a remake of Fire Emblem 4 is what Nintendo has been sitting on, waiting to release it. Even back when Fire Emblem Engage wasn't out, they supposedly were just sitting on this game waiting until the right time to release it. And it seems to be what they do with Fire Emblem games. I don't know any kind of lore or backstory about what Scars of Jugdral means, but out of everything on this list, this is definitely one of the things that I don't think is happening. I think that the rumors about a Fire Emblem 4 are more plausible than this. I would love to be wrong. Maybe we do get a new Fire Emblem game, but I also don't see a new Fire Emblem coming out on August 29th of this year. Nintendo, especially at the beginning of the Switch's life, definitely liked having a major release come out every single month. And now we've, just in what we've covered so far, we've got a May, a June, a July, and an August release. And we'll go over some September stuff here in a little bit. But this one just doesn't make sense at all. And if you're familiar with Fire Emblem more than I am, if you've got any insight onto what Scars of Jugdral means, feel free to leave that in the comments below, because I am interested in learning more about where they came up with that title, or if they just made it up off the top of their head. Speaking of making things up off the top of your head, though, Animal Crossing New Leaf HD coming out on November 7th. So that would make a remaster of Animal Crossing New Leaf, Nintendo's big holiday title going into this year. That is just that is so dumb. It's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Nintendo has never remade an Animal Crossing game. To an extent, a lot of new Animal Crossing games use features from the old games. So there's no sense in remaking an old one when you could spend a little extra time and just crank out a new one. There are rumors that there's a 2026 new Animal Crossing. That'd be great if that's what happens. New Leaf HD just, again, it falls under the Fire Emblem thing where this doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no way that they're gonna release this. Some other stuff: Fantasy Life: The Girl Who Steals Time, coming out October 10th. Deca Police, spring of next year, 2025. Little Kitty Big City, August 27th. That's my game of the year. And Biomutant, which was a game that's already been released on PlayStation and Xbox and PC, coming out May 14th. I believe Biomutant's already been announced, so this kind of just falls in line with this. Now on to the next thing, and I think this is something that's very plausible that could happen though, and that is Super Mario Party 2. And I would hope that they've learned their lesson with Super Mario Party 1, with hopefully getting this one right. And even when I first glanced at this actually just happened in real time, I thought they were talking about Mario Party Superstars 2, which is what I want. That's like your traditional Mario Party that's just like, it's kind of like a remake of the older games with some new mechanics and old mini games thrown in there. This is saying that Super Mario Party, which is like the one that came out at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, that was all motion controls, where they kind of changed some of the core systems of the game to make it more user-friendly and everything. They're saying that's getting a second game coming out. And so now I'm really in the camp of they really have to get that one right, because if you put both of those games in front of people and say which one you want to play, I'm willing to bet a majority of people are going to go with Mario Party Superstars and not Super Mario Party. It was fun when it first came out because that was the only Mario Party you could get, but then when you go and you compare the two, it is definitely the lackluster Mario Party game. And that is probably a hot take on my end, but I hate motion controls, and that's why I don't like Super Mario Party. So hopefully they at least make that optional if this is legit. And as we get towards the bottom of this, it's definitely going to get just even more bonkers. Okay, there's just so much other stuff in here. The first thing is Super Mario Galaxy plus Super Mario Galaxy 2 Double Pack, coming out September 19th. So this would be Nintendo's big September game. So again, Paper Mario May. We've got Luigi's Mansion in June. We've got Wind Waker HD in July. We've got Fire Emblem in August. Mario Galaxy ports in September. If it's real, this is a nice launch, or a nice lineup of games for this year, but it's not real. If you recall, Super Mario Galaxy was a part of that Mario 3D All-Stars set that's no longer available unless you just walk into a big box retailer and find one, or maybe on Amazon. But as far as the eShop goes, you cannot just go get that collection anymore. So the fact that they would release it along with Mario Galaxy 2, I don't see this happening. Again, all this is a lot of wishful thinking. Like, I would sit here and say, I don't see this happening. But on the flip side, I would love for it to. I would love for all this to come to the Switch. It's just, I don't think this is going to happen, unfortunately. Another game I've never heard of called Scale Wave Unbound. It's also coming out in July. And then something I think would be really fun if it came out, which is Call of Duty Black Ops Collection coming out on September 26th. It's been a long time since Black Ops or any Call of Duty have been on a Nintendo platform. I believe the last one was either Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Ghosts coming to the Wii U. And I had Black Ops 2 on the Wii U. It was actually a lot of fun, but it didn't get like any of the expansions or anything. So and I love Call of Duty Zombies. That's like my guilty pleasure as far as COD goes. You got to play like 1 or 2 maps and that was it. So if they're going to bring where all of the Black Ops games are on there, or even if it's just a zombies collection, I think that'd be fun. Like being able to take Call of Duty Zombies on the go, I would play the heck out of that. Do I see it happening? No. But if it was a Switch 2 thing, I could totally see it, because the Nintendo Switch is on the same like performance side on a numbers standpoint as a PS3 and an Xbox 360. I've seen the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and 4, and there's some other ones in there too, and they run like crap. And I don't think that it would sell well on the Switch unless it was just for someone who only had a Switch. That was their only method of playing the game. Then I could see this really taking off. But as I preface on this show a lot, I am a multi-console gamer. I've got PS5, PC, everything. And when stuff like this pops up, I'm more inclined to play this where the more performance is going to be, especially in a first-person shooter. Nintendo stuff, they have their own niche, and they do it exceptionally well, better than the competition. First-person shooters are not something that I go out of my way to say, I gotta play this on my Switch. But, again, zombies, though, would be a lot of fun to take on the go. So I'm totally on board with that, and I would definitely check it out if this was real. Anyway, off of my tangent, the next game is Braid Anniversary Edition. I know nothing about Braid. I've never played it, but it's getting an Anniversary Edition, apparently. And that's coming out on April 30th. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, we've talked about enough on here, June 27th. And then the final part of this is Metroid. It's all Metroid. 4 games of Metroid all getting announced in the same direct. If nothing else in this presentation was, this ain't happening. It's announcing 4 Metroid games all coming out around the same time. So to break them down in order, Metroid Samus Returns HD, coming out early 2025. Metroid Samus Returns was a 3DS game that was a remake of Metroid 2 Return of Samus. So now you've got a remaster of a remake of an old Game Boy game coming out. Again, early 2025. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption double pack coming out the same day as this Nintendo Direct. Now, I've said before, maybe not on this channel, but just out loud at least, that I do believe that whenever Metroid Prime 4 is about to come out, some of these other Metroid games are going to release in the same year. This is not just a premonition or something. This is how Nintendo operates. They've done it with Pikmin. They've done it with Bayonetta. They'll have their the new release will be coming out towards the later end of the year. And at the beginning of the year, they released like the ports and everything. Again, Pikmin 1 and 2 got a double pack. Pikmin 3 was already on the Switch, and then Pikmin 4 came out later that year. Bayonetta 3 was set to come out holiday, whatever year that was. And at the beginning of the year, Bayonetta 1 and 2 came out. Metroid Prime 1 has already gotten a full remaster or remake, so we've already got that. So it does make sense that Metroid Prime 1 and 2 would both come out at some point before Prime 4 does, if that's what they're planning on doing. I don't see both games releasing at the same time right after the Direct. I do think that they will try to stagger it out a little bit. And following that up, though, is that Metroid Prime 4, which is now called Extinction, coming out October 10th. So this is probably what's left of the most anticipated Nintendo Switch game that's available. It was announced just right after the launch of the Nintendo Switch. It's been in development the entire life cycle of this console, and we do expect that it is going to come out at some point between now and I'd say next holiday season. I do think that this is kind of like a game that they're going to try to use as a cross-generation title between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. But they don't even have this set up as like their big holiday game on this list. They have Animal Crossing New Leaf HD as their big holiday game. If this game's coming out this year, it's going to be like December timeframe, I would say. Or maybe just right before Black Friday, around like your Call of Duty type of release or anything, like that middle of November. I think there's way too much Metroid in this Direct for it to be a legitimate thing that people should take seriously. But, like I've said, there's a chance this is real. And I don't believe it. And I'm not going to like say, well, if this is real, I'm going to do this, this, or this. Because one, the easy answer to that is I'm going to shave my head and I'm not doing it. But I want to know what you guys think. Is this something that you think could possibly be real? Or are you in the same boat as me and go, this is got BS just written all over it? Because I'm 99.9% sure that this is not what's going to happen on a Nintendo Direct happening in April. Is there a chance that some of this is true? Probably. We're overdue for a new Mario Party. I've been wanting Wind Waker HD to come out on the Switch since the Switch got announced. I think a new Hyrule Warriors game would be cool if it does happen. And I would wear out Call of Duty Black Ops on the Switch, especially for the zombies mode. And there's some other stuff trickled out through here too. But again, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this is something that's legit? Leave a comment below with what you think about this, and if there's anything in here, real or fake, that you would be excited for if it's coming over to the Switch. Again, subscribe if you're new here, leave a comment down below, and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Before we close everything up, I want to go over a poll that I posed last week saying, how much storage should the Nintendo Switch 2 release with? 50% of you say it needs at least 256 gigabytes, 33% think it needs at least 512 or more, and 17% of you think that 128 is just right. But what's interesting is that we're all wrong, because Nintendo is Nintendo, and they're probably only going to put 64 gigs on the system, because that's just how they roll. And finally, a new poll for you to vote on. Do you think that Metroid Prime 4 will release before the end of 2024? Simple yes or no poll for you this week. Again, leave comments on the video if you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you soon with hopefully real Nintendo news. But until then, we're going to cover leaks, because I posted a poll asking if you guys want to talk about leaks and everybody said yes. So anyway, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.